God did it on a higher platform than any of the other days. The other days just mentioned once, but the seventh day is mentioned 3 times. The seventh day, the seventh day, the seventh day. This is before any Jew. This is before the ceremonial law of Moses. This is before all of these things. In Edenic perfection, God sets apart the seventh day and makes it holy. Now, what does this have to do with the sanctuary? Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 12 says, "Also I gave them my Sabbaths as a sign between us, so that they would know that I, the Lord, made them holy." Listen to the significance of this. The Bible tells us that the Sabbath is not only a memorial of creation, but it's also a memorial of redemption and salvation. In other words, when we keep the Sabbath, we not only memorialize the reality that God created the earth in 6 literal, contiguous, consecutive days and rested on the 7th, and we should do the same. But the seventh-day Sabbath also shows us how God takes us and recreates in us the image of God and makes us holy, and we rest in that assurance. In other words, the salvation experience, the sanctuary experience, is also the Sabbath experience. You see, in the sanctuary, as we noted in our series and presentations, the sanctuary is how God wants to bring us back. But the Bible tells us in the book of Hebrews that without holiness, no one will see the Lord. In other words, the criteria and the condition for being able to go back to that face-to-face encounter with God, just like Adam and Eve, is holiness. The condition for seeing God is holiness. Now that makes me feel overwhelmed. That makes me feel anxious, because I look at myself and I see anything but holiness. But when you look in the sanctuary, the condition for having that restoration is holiness. The condition to a restoration and a relationship with God is to be holy. And that fills many people with anxiety. That fills many people with this feeling of inadequacy. Have you ever wondered to yourself, how am I ever going to make it? I am anything but holy. And so the Christian experience for some, for many, can be one of anxiety and unrest. But the sanctuary salvation is also connected with the Sabbath in terms of our existential experience. In other words, the experience of salvation, the experience of restoration, the experience of the sanctuary, the experience where God brings us back is not one of unrest, it's not one of anxiety, quite the contrary. It is one of rest. It is resting in the reality that we can't make ourselves holy. Rather, it is God who makes us holy. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it beautiful that on the 7th day, you not only memorialize the fact that God made a day holy, but you memorialize the present reality that it is God who makes us holy. We can't make ourselves holy. And on the 7th day, we rest in the assurance. We don't work. It's a reminder that we don't work our ways to heaven. Some people say, oh, the Sabbath, that's legalism. Quite the contrary. God is telling us to rest, not to work. And so on the 7th day, we experience the rest that comes in the assurance that God makes us holy. Even as God took a day and infused His holiness into it, God takes us, recreates the image of God, and in the Sabbath experience is rest. We can rest in the assurance that it is God who makes us holy. So when we talk about the Sabbath, we're talking about the experience the person has as they're coming into the courtyard. The experience the person has as they come into the holy place. The experience the person has as they come into the most holy place is not one of anxiety. It is one of rest. And I want to tell you, in my Christian experience, I need to be continually reminded